So when we read Psalm, we see that the writing of the author is speaking to God. He is complaining to God. He is seeking for God's rescue. Amen. He writes to God. He's talking to God. He's interceding, asking for God to do something for his life, to fight against his enemies. But yet, there is a shift that happens from talking to God to talking to his soul. Alright, are y'all going to be with me? Alright, I see this side is talking to me, so I'm going to talk to this side. Amen. Because he switched from talking to God to like, oh my soul. Right. I mean, he's like, God, I need your help. But he's also like, my soul, something's wrong. I can sense that there is something that is not right. I can see that something is disturbing you. What is wrong, my soul? What is it? What is causing you to be uneasy? Because he's realizing that God will never change or touch anything that you do not name. All right, again, I'm going to stick to this side because this side seems to be with me, so it's interacting with me. Because there is one thing about asking God, help me, and then there is taking ownership.
That's right.
All right. I know y'all not going to like me today, it's fine, I still like you a lot.
Yes.
There's a difference between saying, God, I need help, and then there is realizing that there is an enemy that you're fighting that is coming from him. All right. He says, why are you downcast, O my soul? He does not say, oh my mind. He does not say, oh my body. He does not say, oh my heart. He says, my soul. Because the author is realizing that it is possible to know God and not be filled by God. That there is something, hold on, you with me? That there is something called a spiritual depression.
That's right.
That we talk about mental depression, but there is also something called spiritual depression, where you are in the house of God, but your mind is at home.
Come on now. Come on.
That you are singing and clapping, but your heart is with the man you slept with last night.
That's right.
Oh, this side is coming now. All right, there we go. Now they're like, you talking, now you're preaching. What were you saying earlier? There is a difference of being in God's presence and being with God.
Right.
Amen.
Can I borrow you? Now I want you to stand there, and then I'm going to be pretending to be doing something, and I want you to say something. Just tell me a story of something that happened, how God has been good to you. Yeah.
Hey lady, God is good to me. He is so loving and so
Sorry, did you say something? Oh my God, please go, keep going.
He is with me all the time. He said he loved
Wait, I'm sorry. Listen, I have so much on my mind.
Right.
Thank you, Chrissy. I mean, we do this to each other all the time.
Amen.
So sometimes I'm like, God, where are you? God is always there. You are not listening.
Amen.
God is trying to show you, but you are not listening.
That's right.
And that's why there is the title of my sermon is called The Cry of My Soul. Because here the author realizes, hold on, there is a cry that is coming from my soul. And when your soul is crying, it means that your soul is thirsting for God.
Amen.
Because the soul always thirsts for the Creator.
That's right.
That's why you can try to fill your life with so many things and still be unhappy.
That's right.
That's why you can be a CEO of a great company, make millions, and still jump off the building and kill yourself. Because it's one thing to fill the bank, it's another to fill your soul.
Amen.
Alright, so this side is still... Alright, I'm going to go to this side right now. Because there is a difference between seeking things that can fill your soul. Because no matter what it is, nothing can replace the fulfillment of God.
Yes.
are you drowning in pain? But the soul is trying to send warnings, red flags. There is something that I need that I'm not getting. I know you're busy every single day, but there is something I'm not getting. I know you're hanging out with your crew, but there is something I'm not getting. I know you go to church every Sunday, but there is something I'm not getting. Your soul is crying out this morning. Are you listening? This is the frustration between the older generation and the younger generation. It's because the older generation is trying to give warning to the young people. Young people are like, listen, I don't need you, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm going to do me.
That's right, that's right.
And they are like, honey, there is no such thing as doing me because you would do the same thing. There is nothing new under the sky. You may do it differently, but it's still the same. The game may look different, but the rules are still the same. There is a disconnection because now there is this new thing that is in our heart of I don't need to listen to anyone. I can do good and bad all by myself. And when your soul is crying out to you, instead of seeking and listening to why is it you run to God, God fix my problems. God fix me. God is like, you are not getting it. You are trying to find me in the wrong places. You are trying to find me in the wrong places. And some of us hate it. We hate it. And some of us are in here angry with God. Because you thought that the moment you walk with God, life will be smooth. Then you will just be walking in testimonies.
Yes.
Floating in miracles. But then you are going through hardship. And then your friends are like, you go to church all the time. Where is your God?
That's right.
Where is your God? You go to the Bible study. Where is your God? Look at you right now in pain and suffering, and your God is not even with you.
Wow.
What do you do when you thought that God was a God that was good, and all you do is go through hardships?
Right.
Right, it's fine. You don't have to go with me now. And some of you are feeling so much pain. Some of you are feeling abandoned. Some of you are angry and hurt. But I'm here to tell you something. You may not agree with me, but at least don't walk away from me. The proof that you are alive is the fact that you can still feel pain. Because though you're hurting, that's a good sign. You know why? Because dead people can't feel nothing.
That's right. That's right.
Dead people can't feel nothing. Whatever you're feeling right now, you may not like it, but it is a sign that your heart is trying to tell you you are still alive.
Amen.
That is why when you are paralyzed or when you are injured, the first thing they do, wherever you're injured, they try to ask you, do you feel this?
That's right.
Because like it may be hurting, but if you feel it, it's a good sign. But if you don't, you are paralyzed. Because life will bring you troubles. Life will bring you trials. But if your heart is hurting and it's a sign that is telling you, you are alive. And as long as you are alive, God can do anything for you, through you, with you. Just make sure that you don't become so broken that nothing affects you.
That's right. Right.
All right, so I'm going to turn to this side. This is your chance to, have me this time. I'm going to repeat. If you got so broken that nothing affects you or hurts you, it is dangerous.
Yes.
Be careful about someone who does something and they have no remorse.
Yes.
Amen. That's right. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
They are the worst. Because nothing affects them. Nothing bothers them. They have no guilt. Guilt is something that tells you, man, I hurt that person. I shouldn't have done it. I need to. I'm sorry. It's like someone who does wrong, but can come back and be like, yo, I'm sorry, bro. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. But there are those who are like, listen, I'm gonna walk over you and walk again and walk again, because I don't care. I don't know about you, but I know those type of people. I know them. Because they will do anything they want. It doesn't matter who it affects. It doesn't matter who it hurts. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have one of those in my family. I don't know if you have none of those in your families. Blessed be to God. Because you know that when they come to family reunion, family parties, they say what they want, no matter how it hurts other people.
Amen. Amen.
They don't care about wisdom. They don't care about discernment. They don't care if they're in a funeral. They don't care if they're... Listen, they have to make sure everything is about them. Sign that you are alive. That's a sign that you are not emotionally paralyzed. That's a sign that still there is a chance that God can still restore you. But I'm here to tell you, it's okay to be angry with God, but it's not okay to stay angry. Because anytime you stay too long in anger, it produces bitterness.
That's right.
Now you worship. Anything that comes out of you is bitterness. Your testimony is full of bitterness. I don't know if you have met those people, but I have.
Right.
You say, are you sure you're testifying? Because it sounds like a weapon. Hey man, I'm like, okay, all right. There are two ways you can embrace pain. Pain can either be your guide or your identity. If you put, for example, if you put your hand on the stove, and burn yourself, that pain is guiding you to not do it again.
That's right.
Amen. Right.
Right? No, I ain't going there. But there are people who take pain and make it their identity.
Yeah.
And they think, I do deserve to be abused. I do deserve to be oppressed. I do deserve to be disrespected. I do deserve for people to walk in my life and walk on me and walk over me. There are people who befriend pain when pain was supposed to be a guide of what you don't deserve.
Amen.
This is for parents who sometimes say, I don't understand my child. My child is always going for people that take advantage of them. I'm like, that's what happens when you befriend pain. They don't see it's bad.
That's right.
She thinks that's what she deserves. She thinks she deserves a man that only wants her body, no man to marry her. All right, this is not for me. I'm going for this service time. You're good. Because when you befriend pain, you are okay with suffering. That is why when people love pain and believe they deserve suffering, they never pray for God to give them freedom. They only ask God to give them patience to endure. This is why he says, my soul, why are you downcast? I mean, the author realizes, many argue that this was David. David had power. He had women. Right. Which is a proof that sex ain't always the answer for everything. Right. All right, again, this side is not for me. I'm going for this side. Right. That sex ain't the answer for everything.
Right.
Why? Because he realizes that lust lasts some minutes. mind is back.
That's right.
All right, so y'all are going to talk to me, it's fine. I'm going to decide. Because what you thought was amazing, oh, she's fine. I mean, lust will make you say things you never thought you could. But then the next morning, what was I thinking? That's the point, you weren't thinking. I mean, David had women, moved from bed to bed, pleasure to pleasure. I mean, he conquered land, power, but yet he says something is wrong with my soul. How is it possible that I have gained the world, but I cannot seem to know what is wrong with my soul? And yet, David said, I saw the most beautiful woman. I wanted her. I didn't care if she was married. I made sure her husband died. I slept with her. But still my soul ain't satisfied.
Right.
Wait, does that mean that even if you get the most beautiful, amazing looking person in bed, you're still going to feel empty the next day?
Right.
This is the person we are today. This will be someone who will be like, yeah, hashtag relationship goal. This will be the person that every young man would dream to be like. Wealthy, powerful, no. And yet he's saying something is wrong with my soul.
Yeah, man. Amen.
Because when you disconnect with God,
That's right.
you never have inner peace.
That's right.
All right, now you have to talk to me now. You can find things for a second, but remember, after that second, your problems are back.
Amen.
Today is my brother's birthday, my young brother. Happy birthday, ooh. And I was talking to my brother. He's just turned 20, which I don't understand how in the world he just turned 20, because I remember holding him as a cute baby. Now I'm like, wait, what? You're a man? What happened? But I was talking to him, and he said something amazing, because I called him to give him a lecture. Now, if you have older siblings, or you're at older siblings, you know how we give lectures. Now, imagine, I'm an older sibling, so I have to give him a lecture. And I'm also a preacher. Imagine how long, you know, the talks can be. But he said something that was amazing. He said, I'm always fascinated by people who take drugs. I said, I'm like, you better not say something still. He says, it's amazing how they take drugs to fix their problems, to wake up, to still see their problems there.
Amen.
I have problem of everybody.
Amen.
He said, I have noticed that people try to run away from themselves by putting things in them. Not realizing that when you wake up in the morning, your issues are still going to be there. And you may take as much drug as most expensive substance that you can get, but when you wake up in the morning, your issues are still going to be there. Your debts are still going to be there.
That's right. That's right.
That is why that when you are able to connect with the Creator connects in you with the right things that you need.
Yeah, man.
Let me explain this way. When you have an issue with your iPhone, you take it to Apple, you don't take it to Samsung. So, because the workers or the employees or the staff at Apple know the issues that your phone has, they have the right software to fix the issues that you have. Some of the issues that we have, only God can fix them.
Amen.
I'm going to say this, some of you are not going to clap, especially this side, they're going to be like, all right. Even your pastor can't fix them.
Talk to us. That's right. Talk to us.
Because some of you are like, I'm not coming to church unless this is the preacher that I'm going to listen to. It's not about them. It's about the God in
Come on,
them.
man.
But he cries out, why are you downcast, O my soul? I mean, I have all the wealth. I have the power, and yet you seem to be down. Why? Because he realizes that I have tried to find God in the wrong places. And now my soul is saying, I am spiritually depressed. Wherever people are praying, my mind ain't there. I can listening to a worship song, I am not fulfilled. I mean, I'm doing motion of church, but I am not spiritually filled. Because we can fill up a building, it doesn't mean we're filled with God.
Amen.
We can look churchy and not be churchy.
Amen.
That is why the most judgmental people are found in the church. When I was younger, I used to think it was a lie until I realized it was true. Because when I became a Christian, I became the most judgmental person. I was even a bully. Anybody that did not seem saved and sanctified, my way, by my definition, I felt that I had the right to say something. I had the right to be the Savior. I had the right to be Jesus. Jesus said, hold on. There was only one Savior that came. Who are you to condemn them? Who are you to condemn your own friend? Who are you? Don't you remember who you used to be? Where you used to be? As a matter of fact, do you forget that you are still there? Just because you sin differently does not make you a better sinner.
That's right.
Come on now.
Amen. That's right.
It's until I start realizing that doing things to impress people and doing things to impress God are two different things.
Hey. Right.
I have moved away from those things. Because in the morning I say, God, I want to do things that makes you fall in love more with me. So wherever or whoever you want me to serve, wherever you need me to go, lead me the way. I'm not promising that I'm going to be perfect at it, but I promise I will try to be obedient to Him. This morning, your soul is crying out. Some of us are dealing with spiritual depression. We are moving in motion, but our spirit are stuck, are paralyzed. To the point that even when we sin, we feel no shame, no guilt, no... We hurt one another. Listen, no one is perfect. We don't repent anymore. We don't preach about repent. No, I don't need to preach about repentance. The idea of forgiveness is no longer in our dialogue. Families don't apologize to one another. Friends don't apologize to one another. We don't apologize anymore because we have found a reason to excuse our behaviors.
That's right.
And yet the Bible says right here, He says, the cry of my soul, why are you down, oh my soul? Are you in need of God? Have I deprived you of the presence of God? Have I deprived you that every time I'm sitting in church, all I'm thinking about is Instagram and Snapchat and not the ways I can grow in reading the Bible? Have I deprived you that when you ask me to pray, all I do is spend more time on Netflix than in worship? Is this what you're crying out? That you need God and I'm trying to find God in other things and other people?
That's right.
That you are asking me that you want God to fill you up and I'm trying to fill up my schedule.
Man. Right.
I promise I'm closing and we're gonna pray, but I just feel like God is saying that you can go around the world, go in all the corners of the world, go on all the continents, you can meet incredible people, but nothing and no one can fill you up the way that Jesus can.
Amen.
I know I have my doctorate. I have traveled the world preaching the gospel. I have gone to Europe. I have gone to India. But in all those places I have met incredible people, but I have not met anyone as kind, compassionate, fulfilling as Jesus Christ.
Amen.
done all things. Dated the most handsome people. I'm like, ooh, he fine. But I never had this. Listen, we're gonna keep it real or not. The when you put everything before God, your soul will never stop crying.
Amen.
No matter how busy you are, you will look nice. I'm not kidding. You will get that money. You will feel good, but you will never be fully at peace because your soul will cry day and night.
That's right.
The author switched from talking to God to looking at himself. Said, what is wrong with my soul? He took ownership.
That's right.
He said, I have to own that there are some of my behaviors that are causing me not to connect with God.
Amen. Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's not even the devil.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Sometimes it's not even the devil. Sometimes it's our continuous behaviors. How much of God do you want today? No, I'm not talking about attending Bible studies, going to church, listening to God. No, I'm saying in your personal, private life, where I am not, where no one in this room is, where it's you and God, how much do you thirst for God? Now when things are going downhill, now when you're almost losing your house and your job and your marriage and your kids. Now when your life is like looking all crazy. But how much do you thirst for God? I'm going to tell you, I have been in a season where I was so angry with God, I stopped praying. God, where are you? You have left me. You have abandoned me. I thought I was your child. Why do you sit on your throne and watch me go through this? And God said, I am not up on your throne. Look around you. I'm with you. Because every time you thought you were about to die, almost, but you didn't. The weapons were formed against you, but they didn't kill you. You are still here. Every time you thought it was the end, it was just not, it was close. So I can show you that I can work any time of the day. When you think it's the last second, I can still do it. When you think it's the end, I can still do it. When you get that letter in the mail saying that this is the deadline, I can still do it. I am a God who owns time. I control time. I control seasons. And therefore, when you think it's the end, it is not the end. You are feeling pain because you are alive. Wow. You are feeling pain because I can still restore you. But don't be too broken that you can't feel nothing anymore. Don't be too angry that you can't feel anything anymore. That's dangerous. Right now, God is saying, can you hear the cry of your soul? That your soul that is thirsting for God, to spend time with God. Not just when you need something, but you know you want God. I say, God, I need to know you in ways I have never known you before. I know it is hard because we live in a time and in a season where, social media, it is so influential. Every time I have my phone, I can't put it down. Because every time I'm about to put it down, something funny pops up, something cool pops up, something that keeps me up all night. But God is saying, but why are you losing while you are entertaining your mind?
That's right.
Which part of you are you losing in the midst of all of that? Please stand and join me in prayer. I thank you for your time. Thank you for having me again.